Everybody sing that shit.
Gary Anderson is a two-time champion and humble hero of darts. Gary Anderson takes the implement between two fingers and peers at the target. "I am nervous," he says, his laugh underlining the truth of that statement. He breathes in, leans forward and successfully completes the maneuver. It is a Saturday night and Slateford and Scotland's greatest darts player of any era has just signed a bonnet. Not an Easter bonnet. Not even a bunnet. But a bonnet that will later be attached to its normal home, that is, a works van. It has a faithful drawing of the two-time world champion and bears the legend the Flying Scotsman. It is just one of the tributes to Anderson on a night when he has come home to play an exhibition match with Raymond van Barneveld and bask in the fumes of mass consumption of alcohol and general adulation. Moments after the signing in the players' room, Anderson leans on the door, waiting to be introduced to the 800 fans who have paid to watch him and receive his signature on programs, photographs or scraps of paper. "I still get nervous at this," he says to nobody. The door opens and he enters to a roar that suggests he will be using his darts not only to defeat a fellow tour pro but to slay more than the odd lion. His gladiatorial arena is filled with supporters dressed in varying guises from gangster chic to Mexican mariachi band. A night at the darts is fun for the spectators. But it is a serious business for the players. Anderson jokes with his fans and with his opponent, but there's a steady focus within him that is not restricted to scrutinizing dartboards. He is the Andy Murray of working-class Scotland, says a mate with vast knowledge of the darts world. He has been champion of the world at a time when the best ever are playing. Anderson, too, is his own man. There is a reserve, even a suspicion in him. Immersed in a world of millionaires, he remains downbeat. Surely he has made millions? The answer is firm but revealing. "I would not say that. I am always ready to sign on every Tuesday," he says. "I still to this day work as if my wages were what I earned in the building sites. If I win £4,000, I look at it as 4 months' wages. It is a good feeling when you can win 6 months' wages in one day." He lives in Somerset with his second wife and their 4-year-old boy, Ty, and 8-month-old daughter, Shaylee. He has 2 boys in their 20s from an earlier marriage and he speaks quietly about putting money away for my family. He adds, "My only wee luxury is that I like a nice car." His accent is still that of the boy brought up in Musselburgh. His attitude is impeccably old-school darts but his triumph is that he has spent this century prospering in a world where his sport has gone from the pub to a staple of television ratings and, as if to highlight its rise, to a tournament next month in the Mandalay Hotel in Las Vegas, normally the preserve of the superheroes of boxing. At 47, Anderson is still at the top, still repelling the attempts by the younger breed of darts players, those who dance on stage and train in the gym, to muscle him out of what has become a hugely competitive sport. He has his talent. He has, too, his ways. He irons his playing shirt an hour before he leaves his hotel for a match, whether competitive or exhibition. "You should look good in public," he says. "I believe in doing things for myself, too. I like to book my own hotels and flights." He practices in his socks, so he buys shoes with a thin sole and a low heel. "Once I have found ones that suit, then I buy 5 or 6 pairs," he adds. He never practices at home. "I am on the road a lot," he says. "When I get home, I don't want to see a dartboard. If I can't sort things out in a couple of hours, then I am in big trouble. I believe there will be days when I don't play well, days when I will play well. But I don't get too down about the bad days because I know I will come through it." This relaxed philosophy has been forged in hard times. Anderson has won a glut of tournaments, most notably the consecutive World Championships of 2015 and 2016. But he has known severe setbacks, if not despair. His time in the BDO, the lesser of the darts franchises, was marked by performances in the World Finals at Lakeside that were so wounding and consistently unsuccessful that there were tales of him throwing his darts into the lake. He restricts himself to admitting, I died so many times on that stage at Lakeside. Yet the resurrection was stunning. Anderson joined the PDC and won his first world title in spectacular fashion, beating Michael van Gerwen, all-time great, in the semi-finals and Phil Taylor, greatest of all time, in the 2015 final. The defeat of van Gerwen was hugely significant. Anderson had lost to the Dutchman in the 2014 tournament when the Scot was 3-1 up in sets. I should have had that nailed. But I vowed that would never happen again. It hasn't, he says. This quiet but unbreakable resolve is followed by his only admission of regret. I should have joined the PDC earlier, I should have made the jump sooner, he says. I held back 2 or 3 years. I kick myself a bit over that. The BDO promise you all sorts of things. But Barry Hearn, Sky and the sponsors all over the world. They have delivered. He moved to the World galvanized by Hearn in 2009 and is now under the management of Tommy Gilmore, the Glasgow businessman who can boast of managing world champions in 2 sports, with Anderson joining the 7 he mentored in boxing. Anderson has been bruised by his life in darts but still comes out punching. His failing eyesight has forced him to use glasses. I hate them. I find them a nuisance, he says. More seriously, he has had trouble with his back that has led him to address the rigors of his schedule. I am not doing the Europeans this year, he says of the championships that take place in Germany in October. My body just can't take it. It's not letting me do it. Plus, I have the youngsters and it is good to spend time with them. I don't want to be missing things. He remains, though, a competitor. He relishes the cacophonous atmosphere of darts. In a world where a golfer can back away from a putt after a midge has broken wind 2 fields away, Anderson competes in a sport of touch and precision that is assailed by waves of noise. You get used to it, he says. No, it's more than getting used to it. I love the party atmosphere. If you are playing great it is fantastic, but if you are struggling that is when you start to hear the crowd. But that's fine. I believe it is the crowd that pays your wages by coming to watch you. I used to earn wages by fitting fireplaces on building sites, so I can't say the noise bothers me. But he performs in a game of stress and on a sport that has its own psychological condition, dartitis, that causes players problems on release of the dart. Does Anderson have a coach or, perhaps, a psychologist? I don't go to anyone. No one, says Anderson. You get the boys who go to sports psychologists, but I am not going to have someone tell me what to do. I don't think anyone can talk you into playing well. It's not as if I am disrespecting advice. I have learned stuff throughout my life. But don't tell me at 47 how to throw a dart. He is similarly straightforward on how to deal with defeat. I like to win, but you have to deal with defeat. Grown men getting beaten, throwing their dummies out the pram. That's pathetic, he says. That's not me. I just turn up to play. I'll take whatever is thrown at me. Moments later, he is doing the throwing, quietly his own man in a bedlam of humanity.